All right, Shalom. It's your brother Quashab coming back at you another lesson. Now, before I get started, I want to give all praises, glory, infinite honors unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, taught me truth and rule well, and peace, blessings, and salutations be to the hopefully elect, as well as those that believe in the gospel, and may you endure to the end, Lord willing. All right, and I'm gonna just get into a quick lesson a day. All right, on setting your house in order. All right, in order to serve the Lord, man. All right, because one thing you have to do repeatedly, is set your house in order, and your house more so starts with you. Brothers got families, different things. They have to get in line and understand the sacrifice that we make, all right, in order to serve the Lord, and if you can't get with it, you can get out of here, man, but you have to set yourself up, all right, set your house up in order to do what? Serve Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai in sincerity and truth, man, all right, because if you can't set your house in order, all right, you won't be able to really last or contend in this truth, man. And like I said, this could be, with your family, they have to be in order for you to, serve the Lord, all right? But this is more so talking about us, this is for the, the brotherhood, man, the Akim, all right? And setting your house in order starts with you, it don't rely on nobody else. Setting your house in order, it starts with you, man, all right? Now, let's go start off with the book of Isaiah, chapter 38, verse 1. It says, "In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death, and Isaiah, the prophet, the son of Amos, came unto him and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live," all right? Now, when you read in the NLT, it says, set your affairs in order, for you are going to die, and you will not recover from this illness, right? Now, we understand, this story, that ultimately, 15 days was added unto, I think, Hezekiah's life. You read down a little bit, he prayed to the Lord, and the Lord answered his prayers, right? But, the message is that, what? To set thy house in order, man, all right? That's what he had to do. That was the last thing before he died was, set his house in order, right? Set the church in order, get himself together, man, all right? You have to set yourself, your house in order. Keep your body into subjection. The things that you're doing in the world, right? The things that you have going on, whether it's a job, right? Whether it's family, whether it's, whatever different avenues of things that you may have going on. You have to put those things in order, all right, to come after the truth, man. You can't have, let's say, for instance, campus on Saturday. I'm not going to get a new job to where I work on Saturdays, man. I work at the time that campus, going on, I'm not going to do that. That's not setting my affairs in order, man. I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to maintain my integrity to serve Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai in sincerity and truth. This not some, do what I want when I want type of thing, man. So this is, the second address. This address, second address, chapter 14 and verse 13, it says, "Now therefore set thine house in order and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption." 14, "Let go from thee mortal thoughts. Cast away the burdens of man. Put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times," man. You see? So that's the same thing as telling Ezra, set thy house in order. All right? set down house in order. Get your shit together, man. You know, excuse my language, but sometimes you just gotta say it like that, man. Jake need to get their shit together, bro. You know? Your affairs in the world shouldn't interfere with what you have going on in the truth, man. You know? At this point, it's kind of become an oxymoron to even do something like that, you know? It says, let go from thee mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man. You see? So you got to be able to let go of the mortal thoughts, man. All right? The things that you just want to do, you know, things that you just want to accomplish, all right, achieve in the world. Well, we've given that up when we've come to serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, man. You know? The scriptures tell you, if any man will try to save his life, you know, he will lose it. You see? So we got to deny ourselves daily, man, in order to serve the Lord. And that's a part of setting our houses in order, right? Now it says, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste to flee these times, man. So you can't so you can't I'll read it again. It says, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste to thee to flee these times. Your mind should be focused on making haste, all right, to get the hell up out of here, man. All right? Not trying to figure out a way to, you know, make more money, right? Figure out, hey, man, this place is done, you know? Oh, I need to do this, do that. You know, nothing wrong with advancing, but at this point, you know, it's kind of like whatever we got, that's what it is, man. You know? Whatever we got, that's what it's going to be. You know, because the time is short, very short, right? So, let's see what else I had. 1 Timothy 3:3. Get out of here with them last two, man. So this is 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 3. It says, well, when they're talking about an office of a bishop, all right, which, you know, I believe that's like the second, third command, whatever. You know, I'm not too sure on it, right? But still, when it's talking about the office of the bishop, right, it says it gives you like the certain characteristics that a bishop must have, right? Certain things, how he must conduct himself, all right? His anastrophe must be separate, all right, from the rest of the church, you know? Why? Because he has more of a responsibility, right? So if we're going to govern the office of Yahushua, we should be practicing governing the things that we have going on in our daily lives now, right? Different councils and things, yeah, that's going to come, you know? But it's more so, if you can't govern, which the scripture is going to say, if you can't govern your daily affairs, how you expect to govern the church, man, right? So there's 1 Timothy 3:4. It says, one that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity, set that house in order. You see, having his children in subjection, right? You go to camp at Saturday, you know, of course, everything ain't gonna be peaches and cream at first, you know, but sometimes things happen to where the Lord allow your enemies to be at peace with you. Why? Because your mind is focused and stayed on his truth, man. You know, when you serving the Lord fully, the Lord will make everything around you calm down just so you can serve him. You see? But Jake don't understand and don't want to make the sacrifice to do that first, right? It says, verse 5, for if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of the Most High, man? So if you can't rule your own house, in which your house is ultimately your spirit, man. You know, you can't rule your own flesh, your own body. You just doing whatever you want to do. Now, how you gonna be able to rule the house of the Most High, man? You know, I wanted to get that word affairs. Let me see. Let me just see what it said in the etymology. It says affair, what one has to do with ordinary business, All right. You know, basically going with, you know, the responsibilities and things that you have to do, you know. And which the main thing that actually count, what we have to do is what? Preach this word, teach this word, man. This ministry, this truth, what we got going on here is the main thing that we got going on, man. That's the main business that we have to take care of, right? And all the worldly and other things come after that, man. You know? And not just going through the motions either, you know? You gotta actually be here. Be with us, man. All right? But, 2 Peter 3. Let's see what it was. 3 and 11. All right, the 2 Peter chapter 3 and 11, it says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons are ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, man. All right, so let's get this word conversation. All right, which is your anastrophe. It says manner of life, conduct, behavior, deportment. All right. So what should your manner of life be? All right. What should your conduct be? All right. How should you be conducting yourself, knowing the times that we're in, knowing what's getting ready to happen? You know, you should be on point in the spirit, man. You know, and nothing less. All right. So with that, we're gonna give all praises, glory, infinite honors unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, and Shalom, Barakiam, and Labakarim. Shalom.